U.S. President Donald Trump said on Sunday he plans to introduce new 25% tariffs on all steel and aluminum imports into the country. Trump told reporters on Air Force One he's set to announce the new metal tariffs on Monday.
Yeah, any steel coming into the United States is going to have a 25% tariff.
What about aluminum, sir?
Aluminum too.
10%?
No, 25%.
25 for aluminum as well?
25 for both.
Official data shows the biggest sources of steel to the U.S. are Canada, Brazil, and Mexico, though Trump said Sunday the steel and aluminum tariffs will apply to, quote, everybody. A Canadian government source told Reuters that Ottawa would not react to the announcement until it has more information or sees a written order from Trump. Trump also said that later this week he will announce tariffs on all countries that tax any imports from the U.S. He said the U.S. would match the tariff rates levied by each country.
Very simply, it's if they charge us, we charge them.
Separately, Trump announced a decision in the long-running question over whether Japan's Nippon Steel could invest in U.S. steel. Trump has pledged to block a takeover. Now he says the U.S. government would allow investment to happen, but he won't let it be a majority stake. Nippon Steel declined to comment. During his first term, Trump imposed import tariffs of 25% on steel and 10% on aluminum. He later granted several trading partners duty-free exemptions, including Canada, Mexico, and Brazil. Former President Joe Biden later negotiated duty-free quota arrangements with Britain, the European Union, and Japan. It was not immediately clear from Trump's announcement what will happen to those exemptions and quota arrangements.
The Israeli military has withdrawn from Gaza's Netzarim corridor, an area that bisects the enclave. That's according to Hamas on Sunday. The move was expected, in line with the ceasefire deal between Israel and the Palestinian militants group. An Israeli security source also confirmed the military's withdrawal from central Gaza. Thousands of Palestinians have streamed through the passage in recent weeks, returning to their homes in the north from southern Gaza, where they had sought shelter from the war. Mohammed is among them.
We are steadfast, and we've been patient under the rockets and strikes. They have deprived us of food and water, but they haven't deprived us of air. We have stayed alive.
Some who crossed over have described their shock after seeing the destruction of communities, many of which have become a wasteland. Since the early months of the war, Israeli forces had occupied the roughly 4-mile-long corridor south of Gaza City that stretches from the Israeli border to the Mediterranean Sea. The corridor cut off Gaza's northern communities, including its largest metropolitan area, from the south. There was no immediate comment from Israeli military on the withdrawal. Hamas, who celebrated this withdrawal as a victory, deployed its police force to manage the flow of Gazans using the passage. Analysts say Hamas's increased public presence in Gaza since the ceasefire deal sends the message that the group has not been defeated. Israel has vowed to destroy Hamas for its October 2023 attack, in which 1,200 people were killed and over 250 taken hostage, according to Israeli tallies. More than 46,000 people have been killed by Israel's retaliatory assault, Palestinian authorities have said.
Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania celebrated on Sunday their new connections to European power, literally. The Baltic states said they had successfully synchronized their electricity systems to the continental grid 1 day after severing decades-old energy ties to Russia and Belarus.
Today, history is made.
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen commended the move at a ceremony in Lithuania's capital alongside the leaders of the three countries.
These chains of power lines linking you to hostile neighbors will be a thing of the past.
The three Baltic nations disconnected on Saturday from the IPS-UPS network, established by the Soviet Union in the 1950s and now run by Russia. The complex switch away from the grid of their former imperial overlord was debated for years. It gained momentum after Moscow annexed Crimea in 2014 and invaded Ukraine in 2022. It's designed to integrate the Baltics more closely with the European Union and to boost the region's energy security. Latvia's energy minister was present for the symbolic moment when workers cut the wires in Velaka, just by the Russian border.
the new beginning of the new system working. There's more independence, more secure, and what's most important, the system is fully in our hand, our responsibility.
The chopped wire was handed out as keepsakes to cheering observers. The Baltic Sea region is on high alert following a string of power cable, telecom and gas pipeline outages since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. All were believed to have been caused by ships dragging anchors along the seabed. Russia has denied any involvement. The Kyiv-supporting nations stopped buying power from Russia after it invaded Ukraine, but have relied on the Russian grid to control frequencies and stabilize networks to avoid outages. For Russia, the decoupling means its Kaliningrad exclave, located between Lithuania, Poland and the Baltic Sea, is now cut off from Russia's main grid and has to maintain its own system.
U.S. President Donald Trump's offer to take in white South Africans as refugees fleeing persecution may not spur quite the rush he anticipated. An executive order he signed on Friday provided for resettlement in the U.S. of, quote, Afrikaners in South Africa who are victims of unjust racial discrimination as refugees. Afrikaners are mostly white South African descendants of Dutch and French settlers, some tracing back their roots in the country to the 17th century. But it's not clear they want to flee the place they've called home for hundreds of years.
Why would you want to go? There hasn't been any really bad taking over of land. The people are carrying on like normal. And, what are you going to do over there?
That was the response from Neville van der Merwe, a white 78-year-old pensioner living in Cape Town. And he had this to say about Trump cutting off aid to his country.
We all know how Mr. Trump behaves, so it's not, why should they do that? It is being spiteful.
Trump is pushing back against a law signed last month by President Cyril Ramaphosa, aimed at addressing the country's unequal land ownership. White South Africans make up less than a tenth of the country's population. But a legacy of the racist apartheid government left 3/4 of privately owned land in the hands of the white minority, after 3.5 million black people were forced from their homes. The new law makes it easier for the state to expropriate land for what it says is the public interest.
And we will not be bullied.
Ramaphosa's governing African National Congress, or ANC, has defended the measure and accused Trump of amplifying misinformation propagated by AfriForum, an Afrikaner-led group. And even that group, which lobbied Trump's previous administration on their cause, said it was not taking up his offer.
We have to state categorically, we don't want to move elsewhere.
That's AfriForum CEO Callie Creel speaking on Saturday. Alongside Creel was Philip Buys, who chairs the Solidarity Trade Union, a group that says it represents 600,000 Afrikaner families.
We may disagree with the ANC, but we love the country. As in any community, there are individuals who wish to immigrate, but the repatriation of Afrikaners as refugees is not a solution for us. We want to build a future in South Africa.
Some said they appreciated Trump's gesture. Werner van Niekerk is a carpenter in Bothasig.
I think it's a very nice gesture from Donald Trump to offer us asylum over there.
He did not say whether he planned to take up the offer.
Nippon Steel has considered proposing a bold change in its approach to buy US steel. That's according to Japan's Chief Cabinet Secretary Yoshimasa Hayashi Monday. He told reporters the proposal was completely different from anything Nippon has done in the past. Hayashi said it would create a win-win situation for both Japan and the US. He cited investments and the production of high-quality products demanded by the US and global markets. On Friday, US President Donald Trump said Nippon Steel's $14.9 billion bid would take the form of an investment instead of a purchase. He commented further Sunday.
I'm not going to let another country buy it. We had a great meeting on that, but they are allowed to invest in it, and that's different.
It was unclear if the investment referred to a new deal structure or what the details of the transaction would be. Two sources said the biggest Japanese steelmaker had not withdrawn its bid. Nippon Steel declined to comment on Hayashi's update. It also said nothing on Trump's statement that no one can have a majority stake in US steel. Trump also said the US will impose 25% tariffs on all steel and aluminum imports on top of existing duties. Shares in Nippon Steel fell 1.5% Monday.